what's up guys, how's it going? We're going to be doing a full review on the Porsche Macan GTS, so we're breaking this up into a couple sections here. We're going to talk about the exterior of the vehicle, so everything you need to know about that for the Macan GTS specifically. Then we're going to talk about the interior of the Macan GTS, this one as well, talk about this specific spec. And then we're going to go into the performance as well as the technology, and I'll put all those hopefully in chapters in this video, so if you want to skip to them, you can do that. So while we're at the red light, let's talk about exterior styling. So this one obviously stands out a ton because it has that Python green color, but overall the Macan had a facelift, and because of that you get this nice big blacked out front grille, let's call it. I mean, it is a grille, and you get a huge side opening. So it's not like before where it was painted. This has that black plastic, so if you like that, it's there, and if not, I mean, the last model years before had that painted, combination with the black plastic trim as well. And then you get that huge clamshell aluminum hood, which I think is a unique aspect. Yes, it's going to be more expensive if you want to do paint protection film, and if you want to ever wrap it, and if you ever do damage it, it is going to be expensive. You have to replace it or even maybe repair it. But it's cool that it's functional. It's got this like inverse hood scoop to it, which feeds air into your air box, which is cool. Going around to the side, this one has the 21-inch matte black wheels, which look amazing, and then paired with the red performance brakes. You can get optional Porsche carbon ceramic brakes. I'm not going to speak to those at all as far as performance goes because I haven't driven them on this car, but I really like how these look, especially paired with the green. It's a nice touch. So going around the side, this one has the GTS kind of graphic and it's blacked out towards that bottom sill. And then going around the back, you do have that light bar that goes across, the new clear light design, which I think looks nice. I wasn't a fan at first. I did like the older one earlier, but I think it looks clean. It's a nice refresh. And just like before, to open up the trunk, you have your button on the windshield wiper, which I think is a nice, sleek integration. And then this one has a nice spoiler. It's kind of like a two-stage spoiler. You have a little slit through that, helps the air pass through, which is nice, more aggressive, suits the, GTS aspect of this vehicle. And then you have your performance exhaust. I should actually turn that on. What am I doing here? Sounds really nice. I think it's even nicer sounding when you're actually in sport mode. I think it makes a bigger difference, especially when you're just getting on it rather than just being in normal mode. But we'll talk about the drive modes a little more later. Let's go into the inside. I mean, let's start with the trunk because we were starting with the back. There is a decent amount of trunk space. Yes, you have that swept roof line, and the tailgate kind of cuts into that. But I think it's more than enough room for most people. I mean, people who are shopping this are cost shopping Audi Q5. And in my opinion, if you're shopping for something in this price range, that extra bit of storage space is not going to make a difference for you. But again, that's up to you guys to decide. I think it's more enough room for me day to day, and then you put the seats down if you want to. There's 60/40, and they also have a split through down the middle if you want to just put something long and still have 4 seats, which is nice. Then you have netting on the right hand side, which is nice. And this one has the carbon fiber lip on the, or carbon fiber kind of like panels on that trunk lip, which I'd be worried about. You probably don't want to get that if you plan on bringing a lot of rough items. You could scuff it up. I think aluminum would be just fine if you could choose that. But I think this has that whole carbon fiber trim package, so it's on the dash, it's on the side panels, it's on the steering wheel, which looks freaking sick. But yeah, going to the second row seats, there's a decent amount of room. I'm 5'8", I'm not the tallest guy. I fit fine behind myself. People 6 feet will fit fine, have great headroom actually. This one does not have the sunroof, so you get a lot of headroom. But knee room for taller people will be limiting. It's not terrible. I'm sure you still want to be there for a really long time. And then you get 2 USB-C ports. They've updated all the ports in this to be USB-C, which I think is fine. And then you get heated seats, and these have the green seat belts. But the best part is they put the green seat belts as well as the green stitching in the back seats, and I think that's a great touch for this car. The fact that they give the back seats the same treatment as the front, that's nice. No one feels left out. And then you get 2 cup holders in the middle, pretty standard stuff. I think going in the rear seats is the armrest is made of suede. This has suede as well, so on the right armrest in the front. The steering wheel, which we'll talk about more, it does have that in the back seats. Now moving on to the front seats, guys, in the interior, it is really nice. This one has the 18-way power adjustable seat. So 18-way, that's going to be, obviously your basic adjustments as well as your bolsters up top, your bolsters on the side, leg extension, lumbar support, and then even like your headrest is adjustable. You can push that forward, back, up, and down. And they feel great. They're really supportive, but they're also really comfortable. And yes, they have the green seat belts, which never get old, and the green stitching, which is a great touch. So those are the seats. We get the center console, which is, the shifter is a little different. You don't have you can't kick it off to the side. You have to press the M button on the steering wheel to get that, the manual mode, and then you press it again to get off, which I think is fine. It's not a big deal. You can get used to that pretty quickly. But But you get nice leather on the dash, leather even down to like where you put like a bottle in the door pocket. That's leather wrap, which I was surprised to see in this car. The whole roof on this car is wrapped, it's suede, or covered in Alcantara. Porsche calls it Race Tex. I'm gonna call it whatever material. I don't know, I feel like when I bring it up, but it's basically suede. Let's talk about the steering wheel. This has the carbon fiber steering wheel that's wrapped in suede. Now, this also has green stitching. I think the carbon fiber is nice. It's a nice touch. It does look really unique. And on the steering wheel, you get a lot of controls. You have your customizable button. You have 2 scroll wheels, one for your little digital gauge pod on the right-hand side, and then your volume control, as well as your manual mode, and then your voice assistant if you do want to use that. I don't remember the last time I've used that in a car. Siri is good enough these days because this has Apple CarPlay. I don't think it has Android Auto, which is unfortunate, but I'm sure that'll roll out eventually. But yeah, steering wheel's nice. You get the nice, I think they're perfectly weighted paddle shifters. Control your dual clutch transmission because the Macan does have a dual clutch transmission, but we'll talk about that performance later. Paddle shifters, which are great, and your drive mode selector button with the, if you want 20 seconds of, Sport Plus mode, you can press the button in the middle and it'll give you that, which is great for on the freeway if you want to pass, stuff like that. Another thing I want to point out on the inside is this center, control system, let's call it. It's all touch capacitive buttons. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to put this in the performance section. Let's talk about handling real quick. All right, you guys will see whatever you just saw in the performance section, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's all touch capacitive with the exception of your temp and fan speed. You do have a regular volume knob and a tune knob on the infotainment cluster, but that's separate. Let's talk about what's down here. You have your AC controls, your heated seats. Cooled seats is probably an option on this vehicle, but it's not on this one. Adjustable dampers, 2 settings, or 3 technically off. I think Sport and Sport Plus. Adjustable, because it has air suspension, you can adjust the ride height. Traction control off. Exhaust mode, which is great. Auto start stop. Lane keep. An off-road mode, which I'm not going to try because this thing doesn't have off-road tires on it. And then the same thing on the passenger side for the dual zone climate control. I mean, it's a fingerprint magnet, which does suck. I actually kind of missed the previous one, which has plastic buttons, and you press it, great, and you don't get like that same kind of fingerprint piano black effect. Let's talk about the technology, guys. So as far as tech goes, it is an 11-inch, I believe, touchscreen. The system's fine. It's responsive. You get navigation, which is great. You do have a lot of your settings in here, an owner manual built in, so if you have any questions, you kind of look at that pretty quickly. They have a lot of, cool information there. The speaker system, does have the Bose sound system. I think it sounds fine. I'm not sure if there is a nicer sounding system offered. I should probably slow down. I'm going pretty fast. Yeah, sounds great. You do get wireless Apple CarPlay, but that brings me to another point. You do have a wireless charger underneath this center, console storage compartment, right? It's one of those that you slide it in sideways. It is tough to fit depending on what case you have, and that might interfere with the charging. And I feel like you're probably going to put your phone in this pouch right here, and you're not going to use that wireless charger. So you get that, you get your cup holders here, and that's pretty much where you're probably going to put your phone, or you leave it in your pocket. But I feel like it's not a practical phone charging solution. And at the end of the day, I feel like people want something they can easily place quickly, either in the front, down here. Other cars I think do that better. Going on to the center, gauge cluster, it is very traditional Porsche. I think it's probably one of the only Porsches right now, or a few Porsches that still has an analog tachometer in 2022. The gauge pod on the side does look dated, but I think it's fine. You do get different vehicle metrics. This one has a boost gauge, your coolant temp, and oil pressure, which I think is fine. You can customize that. There's other, you probably put battery voltage if you wanted that. You have your auto controls, your phone. You can see a little view of your map if you wanted to here, kind of redundant if you like that. And then navigation, route guidance, trip information, torque split, which I think is interesting. I think you're probably more concerned with that if you're off-roading. And then you have your chronometer or whatever, your stopwatch. If you turn that on, it turns your clock into a stopwatch, which is cool. I don't know how practical, how many people are going to use it, unless it's just see the analog, like the little, whatever, your minute timer move around. It looks cool. But yeah, if you have your Sport Chrono package, you do get a faster acceleration time, 0 to 60 time, because of launch control when you're in Sport Plus. And we'll try to get you that when we get to the performance section. But guys, as far as let's talk about driving this car, and then we'll get into performance, so just regular drivability. Let's get out of sport mode. Let's get into normal mode. And it's fine, guys. This thing feels pretty solid. You do have your adjustable dampers, and we'll play with that a little bit. But visibility is really good. Out back, out the sides, you do have your blind spot monitoring, of course, and a rear view camera, as well as your parking sensors. But visibility is great out this car. I mean, it's a bubble, right? It is quiet. You do lose a little bit of exhaust note because of how insulated it is. But I mean, you roll down the windows, you go through a tunnel, you'll hear enough. As far as, you know, dealing with the steering wheel day to day, this does have a suede wrap steering wheel, which it's actually also a heated suede wrap steering wheel, which is unique because not every company offers that. Day-to-day driving, this is gonna start wearing out really quickly. It's a very, you know, fragile material, and I personally would get the leather wrap steering wheel because Porsche makes great leather wrap steering wheels. It feels amazing, and it'll just last you so much longer than the suede one. But yeah, I mean, in normal mode, the car drives fine. It feels like, you know, your throttle is very, you know, it's not as, you know, responsive, it's not as touchy, but your brakes still feel great. I don't think they do much to the braking system depending on the drive mode. I think the only difference is once, and we'll see that, is once you get into your different settings, as you brake, it'll start to downshift more aggressively for you. Yeah, engine start stop is on. When it does turn back on the engine, it lags a little bit, but honestly, not a big deal. And if you want to disable it, you can do that. No, yeah, so we just turned it on by moving the steering wheel here. This does have regular cruise control, not adaptive. I believe that's extra. Porsche charges a lot for that system, and a lot of just, you know, for a lot of things, that's just the Porsche options world that you have to live in if you're getting a Porsche. But, ooh, let's do the I mode here, get into Sport Plus. We have 20 seconds to kind of have fun here. Yeah, get off of here, the burbles. Oh yeah. Let's just kind of roll on it here. It handles so well. Oh yeah. And it rotates so nicely too. Oh. Yeah, this thing is so rewarding to rip and then get the shifts, because the shifts are so crisp when you're in the Sport Plus mode. The PDK just kind of bangs you into gear in Sport Plus mode. Sport, not as much. And you'll feel it a lot when you're in launch control. It's more than enough power that you need day to day, 434 horsepower. It's honestly, you don't feel a turbo lag. It does a good job mitigating that. And then as far as the transmission goes, it's good day to day. I think they tuned this thing really well. It's been in this car for a long time. And then it's great when you're on it. It's so rewarding to shift yourself if you want to do that. But it does a great job when you're in automatic. I think that's like the best thing about PDKs, is it does so well when you're just not touching the paddles. When you get on the brakes, it downshifts. It gets you right in the gear that it thinks you want to be in, and it nails it sometimes when you want to get back on throttle. You're right in the power band. Well, let's talk about the engine a little bit more. This does have an interesting engine. It's a 2.9 liter twin turbo V6, 434 horsepower. It is from the Audi RS5. But yeah, let's go into the other settings. We're gonna go into sport dampers right now. Just the chassis is gonna be in sport mode. And that's probably just gonna tune your suspension. You notice it get a little stiff. Honestly, it's not back braking or anything. Biggest reason is you're gonna feel a stiffer ride, but you're not gonna be impacted by it because these seats are so well, they're cushioned and supportive. I mean, I'm in Sport Plus chassis mode and on the freeway, guys, and I'm honestly not feeling much. These are pretty smooth roads, but I'm sure you'll feel it in the street. And then, so actually we'll turn that off, and then we will go, so we'll turn that off. And then we have the ride height selection. So low level's gonna be switched off, we can raise it. I think it looks nice when it's low level. It probably changes, or hold up, you think it'll, okay, so it did turn off, and you select it. Okay, so it's just two ride heights. I think depending on if you want to raise it, if you're off-roading or just for accessibility or going over something. I don't know why you'd want to change the ride height in day-to-day operations. Probably off-roading you'd want to, but you're not getting a Macan GTS off-road, at least not anytime soon. So we have sport mode, Sport Plus downshifts from 5th to 4th at 76 miles an hour, and then individual, which you can set yourself depending on what you want in different settings. I honestly find myself, instead of just pressing the button, I get into sport and I get out of it, because if I want it for a little bit, I'm probably not think that 20 seconds is enough, because once it turns off, that 20-second timer is over. You might want to get on it a little bit more and it just won't do it. So I'll get into sport mode here, you know, chilling. You get the nice burbles, snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies, you know. As priced, this thing comes in at $99,000, which is a lot of money for a small luxury SUV. Then this has a little bit of that special element to it because it's the GTS, because it's, you know, it's in Python green with the green stitching, the carbon fiber, the green seat belts. You know, you get it because it's different, right? You don't get this because you want to get an SQ5. Let's talk about handling real quick. I'm in regular mode. Let's get into sport here. Let's kick it a couple gears. Let's see how this thing in third gear. Get this in the corner here. There we go. Okay. Oh, get some understeer. I mean, I'm rolling on it. And then we kind of get off of it there. Getting up into 7,000 RPM. Oh yeah! And those shifts sound amazing. Oh, we got a We got a cop, but he's pulling someone else over, not us. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys do have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. If you guys do smash that like button, I'd appreciate it a lot. It helps the algorithm, it helps me out, and it'll get other car videos like this recommended to people who might enjoy them. But if you guys want to hook it up, smash that subscribe button. It'd mean a lot as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.